Yesterday seems like it was 5 days all rolled up into one. Cubs talking about adding a starting pitcher. We're going to get into that. We lose Ryno, which was still and will be hard to digest for a long time. And Jed Hoyer getting a contract extension. And then two of the Cubs' targets for trades with some things that may lead the Cubs not to go out and trade. One guy, I'm guessing you're just taking right off the table for gambling, and one guy got hit by a pitch. So we're going to talk about all that stuff on the Cubs baseball channel, obviously still with heavy hearts as we try to just wrap our hands around the Cubs losing Ryne Sandberg, who for a lot of us, legendary, not just a great player too, but an even better person. So let's get the show started, guys. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's go. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Thank you for being here today. Obviously somber, but we're going to talk some Cubs baseball, and at least we're all kind of hanging out together here as we deal with the loss of the legend and Ryne Sandberg. Let me start with Rhyno. I did a video on Rhyno yesterday. We could talk about Rhyno all the time on here because we love him. I found out that he passed from a former teammate, and it's just still just absolutely overwhelming trying to figure out like how to deal with this, what to think. From a personal standpoint, Rhyno, I considered him a friend. I admired him. I felt so fortunate and lucky to get to know him as a kid. I wanted to be him, and he was an awesome guy to hang out with and get to know and learn from. He's the Cubs family. I mean, like listening to the tributes and hearing his teammates talk about him and the impact that he had on their lives and the organization and his family and friends. I know it's tough. But he was a fierce competitor and, would obviously want us to keep going and doing what we're doing. And hopefully Cubs win a World Series and dedicate it to him. That would be great. But I'm still trying to get my hands around all this. And I know you guys are too. But some of the tributes I've seen for Rhyno have been really good. And I think that that Cubs fans are the best. And it's been just really awesome seeing the love that he's getting from obviously from Cubs Nation. So, love you, Rhyno. And just crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. What a battler. And I don't even know the words. Let's talk about a couple things. First off, the Cubs are eyeing MacKenzie Gore. That's was basically a rumor that was talked about by the gang at The Athletic. And I think that this is worth talking about. And we're going to get into Jed Hoyer getting a multi-year extension coming up. But think about how MacKenzie Gore would be utilized in a Cubs rotation. Now, some people feel like, hey, maybe the Cubs would be a little bit too left-handed heavy. I don't think so. I think you figure it out. You got good pitching. I mean, think about how many times it's a rotation's right-handed heavy, And when you look at some of the best teams in the National League, the Phillies and the Dodgers especially, the Cubs would match up really good against them. Now, will the temporary front office of the Nationals be willing to make a trade for this guy? The Padres traded him in the Juan Soto deal, and boy, I guarantee you they'd love to have him back. But let's talk a little bit about MacKenzie Gore, all right? Fastball velocity, 91 to 96. Very good carry and life on his pitches. I mean, I think that's one of the things that stands out to me when you watch this guy the leg kick and the explosive delivery. And then all of a sudden the ball just kind of darts in on batters. He's got a very good curveball. His slider is something that has gotten better and better. He's got a changeup that is kind of a late movement type of changeup. So he's very good with all of his pitches, but the fastball kind of sets him up for the high strikeout totals that he's had. And he is, when he's doing his thing, a pound the strike zone kind of guy. And he's super competitive. I love that about him. Pete Crow Armstrong, super competitive. The more of those super competitive guys that you bring to a team, the better you're going to be. And it feels like right now that he's on the verge of taking that next step. And I'm sure the Nationals know that as well. And I think that this deal would be great because he's under contract too for the next couple of years. So you got him, and it gives you some stability. It really does put together a very, very good frontline starter and rotation if the Nationals were willing to make a deal and trade him. And I'm curious to see if they are or not. I don't know. But this one kind of just came out of nowhere, and we're hearing Dylan Cease is potentially on the market right now, which to me is crazy because the Padres are contending for a World Series. I mean, would they really dump one of their best pitchers, one of their biggest assets? I know he hasn't had the type of year that he had last season, but he's still someone that can throw really hard, and then, would be a great pickup for the Cubs if they were able to get Dylan Cease. Now, we don't know all the terms yet of Jed Hoyer's multi-year extension, but this was something we talked about a lot on the channel because it really does weigh on an organization that is trying to make deals and doing things to win when you don't know if you're going to be there next year. And it's human nature to, when you don't have a contract after the season that you're doing, to wonder what's going to happen. I mean, so the Cubs gave Jed a multi-year extension. Our friend Aaron thinks it's probably going to coincide with Craig Counsell's contract, so that'd be like a 3-year deal. But I just hope that the sense of urgency that he's had, because he's worked really hard, and we talked about that on here too, continues, because it's paid off in a lot of areas. But you keep hearing all these contradicting reports that, hey, they want to keep Owen Casey. They don't want to keep Owen Casey. They will trade him for Keller with the Pirates. They're not going to trade him. The Cubs, if they're going to trade Owen Casey, and I've told you guys this before, they better get a really, 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 really good deal. The smart thing to do would be get the deals done without trading him. Trade some of your other prospects. You got a lot of them, and they're ready to go, some of these guys. But if you don't know if you're going to sign Kyle Tucker, you got the next guy right there. And that is a great insurance policy. And then if you do get Tucker, you still have another really good player to put in the lineup. And Craig Counsell's smart enough to figure it out. So if it was me, unless I'm getting maybe something like this where you do a deal and you get MacKenzie Gore, and you need pitching, you got a couple of right fielders, but you might not have a right fielder at the end of the year. That's the problem. So we'll see what happens. But this was reported. I think that some of the media felt like this deal was going to be announced around the All-Star break. So, I mean, we're not too far out of that. And here we are at the trade deadline, and it is announced that Jed's going to be around for a little bit longer. So good for him. Congratulations to him. Now, a couple guys that are, maybe you're going to rethink, that are definitely trade candidates for the Cubs. We kept hearing that the Cubs were interested in Emmanuel Clase, right? Like he, and who wouldn't be, right? I mean, the Cleveland closer throws it like 100 miles an hour, and you would love to have him on the back end there with Palencia and the rest of the guys that you're using. But then A bombshell announced that Cleveland is shutting him down, and it's because of an MLB betting investigation, and that he'll be on leave through August 31st. So very interesting. He's a two-time Mariano Rivera Reliever of the Year award winner. And this guy, I mean, what did we see him close out 4 games against the Cubs last year? I mean, it was like amazing. Like the guy can throw every day. So we're not sure what the extent of the gambling deal is going to be, but not good. Not a good look at all for Clase, because they're really cracking down on that, and you can't gamble in baseball. I mean, they tell you that right away. I mean, you just go ask Pete Rose, right? Who spent his life out of the game because of it. So there we go. Now, the other one I wanted to talk about was this, Eugenio Suarez. Matt Shaw has been doing everything possible to make the Cubs feel like, hey, this guy can fill those shoes at third base, that he's going to be better. He's actually been one of the best hitters they've had, here over the last stretch, right? But Suarez, one of the best hitters in the National League. The Cubs are clearly in the sweepstakes for him. He got hit on the hand by a pitch at the All-Star game, and it happened to him again, and he left the game. But X-rays came back negative, so that's good news. I wonder, we've talked about the way that the Cubs have kind of handled Jackson Wiggins, where in the minor leagues they haven't really let him pitch a whole lot since the trade negotiation stuff popped up, or basically knowing that he's a very sought after prospect that they're probably going to have to give up to get what they need. And so they've really slowed down his action on the field because they just don't want something like this to happen. And I said, well, I've never really seen that before, but I don't know that it's a bad thing. It's just maybe it's a smart thing. Well, I mean, you think Diamondbacks are kind of rethinking things right now with him? I mean, if he's a free agent at the end of the year, he's not going to be there. And if they don't trade him and they don't make the playoffs, they're not getting anything for him. So they need to go out and make a deal. And I'm wondering if this doesn't speed things up a little bit, or maybe they just set him out until after the trade deadline and let his hand heal. But good news is that he's going to be okay. And then, I'm just curious to see if and when this deal is going to get done, because I really feel like the Cubs and the Diamondbacks are going to do business here. And could it be for 3 players? Could it be for 1 player? Could it be for 2? I don't know. But I'm confident that it's just such a good match when you talk about the Diamondbacks and the Cubs, and what one organization needs and what one organization is trying to do and get rid of to try to build up to be competitive here down the road. So anyway, look, Cubs lost to the Brewers. Tough game. I know it was overshadowed by the death of our legend, Ryne Sandberg. Matthew Boyd, with his worst start really that I can remember, just didn't have command at all. And the Cubs got a big, a 3-0 lead. I don't know if that's huge, and then things just went south in a hurry. And so they'll do it again. But hey, Cubs fans, they were loud. I love going to Milwaukee, because the Cubs fans are there, and it is a lot of fun when the Cubs do something, to hear how loud it is. I know the Brewers fans hate that, but I love it. I love taking over that stadium. So they're back at it again today. We'll be watching that, keeping an eye on it. If something breaks in the trade deadline, we'll jump on here live. I wanted to get on live to talk Rhyno. I actually knew long before it was announced during the game, but it was just too emotional. It's not. It's more than just, obviously we were friends, and I just feel so lucky that I got to know him and to be around him as a friend, learn from him. I can think of people in my life that mean something to me, but I just can't think of anybody that brought the dynamic that Rhyno brought, the whole thing. And he's missed. I mean, and loved. And the tributes are great, and it's therapeutic. So, anyways, as tough as it was to do a show today, thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, do all those things. Thank you for being part of the channel, guys. We're trying to get to 10,000. So, make sure that you, if you're not a subscriber, you subscribe. And, it's like I said, thank you guys for being here. And we'll do it again tomorrow. Go Cubs. Unless something breaks, I'll be back.